Have you ever wondered why some people ignore your opinions, cross your limits, or treat your time as if it has no value? It is not always because you are less intelligent. It is not because you work less than others. And it is not because you lack talent. Many times, it happens because you unknowingly teach people that your boundaries can be crossed without any cost. You may believe you are simply being kind, but many people do not see endless kindness the way you do. When kindness has no limits, some people begin to mistake it for unlimited availability. They stop appreciating your effort because they start expecting it. This is a difficult truth that most people never realize. Respect rarely disappears in one big moment. It slowly fades through hundreds of small moments. One unnecessary yes, one uncomfortable smile, one apology for something that was never your fault, one moment of silence when you should have spoken. Each decision seems small, but together, they create a picture of how others believe they can treat you. People learn from your actions far more than your words. If every request receives a yes, if every interruption is accepted, if every unfair situation is ignored, people naturally begin expecting the same behavior again. This is why healthy boundaries matter. Being kind is never the problem. The real problem begins when kindness has no direction and no limits. A person who never protects their own time slowly teaches others not to protect it either. Today, you will discover 5 behaviors that quietly weaken your influence without you even noticing. More importantly, you will learn what to do instead. You do not need to become cold. You do not need to become rude. You do not need to stop caring about people. You simply need to become someone whose kindness is guided by wisdom instead of fear. Stay until the end, because the 5th behavior surprises almost everyone. Many people proudly call it being selfless. Others call it being a good person. But when practiced without balance, it slowly drains your energy and teaches people to value your sacrifices less and less. History offers an interesting lesson. Thinkers throughout history often reminded themselves that peace does not come from pleasing everyone. It comes from living according to your own principles. A person who constantly changes to satisfy others slowly loses the ability to recognize their own voice. Real strength is calm, real confidence is quiet, and real kindness begins with respecting yourself first. Because if you cannot protect your own boundaries, eventually no one else will either. Behavior number 1. Saying yes when you really want to say no. This is probably the most common habit. Someone asks for another favor. You immediately say yes, not because you truly want to, but because saying no feels uncomfortable. Maybe you want to avoid conflict. Maybe you don't want people to think you are selfish. Maybe you tell yourself, it's only one small favor. The problem is that these small favors slowly become a lifestyle. One day you realize your schedule is full of other people's priorities, while your own goals keep getting postponed. Every time you ignore your own needs to avoid disappointing someone else, you quietly send an important message. My time can always be interrupted. My plans can always wait. My limits are flexible. Most people are not intentionally trying to use you. They simply adjust to the behavior they repeatedly see. Imagine a coworker who agrees to stay late every single day. At first, everyone thanks them. After a few weeks, people stop thanking them. A few months later, everyone assumes they will always stay late. What once looked generous becomes expected. The appreciation disappears. The same thing happens in friendships. Suppose one friend always pays for dinner, always drives everyone home, and always changes their plans to make everyone else happy. At first, people admire that kindness. Later, they begin expecting it. If that friend finally says no one day, others may even become surprised or disappointed. Nothing changed except the expectation. This is how respect slowly loses its value. True influence does not come from speaking loudly. It comes from having words that carry meaning. When your yes is given carefully, people appreciate it. When your yes is available all the time, it begins to lose its value. Things that are always available are often taken for granted. So what should you do? You do not need to become harsh. You only need to become clear. Instead of giving long explanations, try simple and respectful answers. I can't do that today. I'm not available. I can help next week. These sentences are calm. They are respectful. And they are honest. Notice what is missing. No guilt. No endless excuses. No desperate attempt to convince everyone that you are still a good person. You are simply communicating your decision. That is confidence. A calm no is not rejection. It is protection. And protecting your time is one of the strongest forms of self-respect. People usually respect those who respect themselves first. There is another habit that quietly weakens your influence. Most people never notice they are doing it. It begins with one simple word. Sorry. I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sorry for asking. I'm sorry I'm like this. I'm sorry for taking your time. If these words come out of your mouth every day, something deeper is happening. Without realizing it, you are sending a silent message. My presence is an inconvenience. My needs are less important than yours. I don't deserve to take up space. People may never consciously think those exact words, but they will feel the energy behind them. Confidence is often communicated before a single sentence is finished. The way you speak teaches people how to respond to you. If you constantly make yourself smaller, many people will naturally begin treating you that way. This is one of the oldest truths about human nature. People rarely value what its owner does not value first. That is why excessive apologizing slowly reduces your presence. Most people do not over-apologize because they are polite. They do it because they fear rejection. They want everyone to like them. They want to avoid tension. They hope that by making themselves smaller, life will become easier. For a short time, it may seem to work. People smile. Nobody argues. Everything appears peaceful. But underneath that peace, something important changes. Others begin seeing you as someone who rarely stands firm. And when people believe you will always step back, they naturally begin stepping forward. Imagine a young employee in an office. Every morning they say, sorry for asking. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry if this is a stupid question. At first, their coworkers simply smile. Months later, something changes. During meetings, people interrupt them more often. Their ideas receive less attention. Their opinions carry less weight, not because they lack intelligence, but because they unintentionally taught everyone that they doubted their own value. Now imagine another employee. They remain polite. They remain respectful. But instead they say, thank you for your time. I appreciate your help. Thank you for waiting. Notice the difference. Both people are respectful. Only one speaks from confidence instead of apology. One asks for permission to exist. The other assumes they belong. That small difference completely changes how people respond. Here is a simple habit you can start today. Replace unnecessary apologies with genuine appreciation. Instead of saying, sorry I'm late, say, thank you for waiting. Instead of, sorry for the long message, say, thank you for taking the time to read it. Instead of, sorry to ask, say, I appreciate your help. The situation stays exactly the same. Only the energy changes. One version makes you appear smaller. The other shows quiet confidence. And quiet confidence earns respect far more often than endless apologies. Remember this. Apologize when you have truly made a mistake, but never apologize for existing. You have every right to speak. You have every right to ask questions. You have every right to occupy space. A person who respects themselves does not need to apologize for their presence. That is where genuine confidence begins. Behavior number 3. Avoiding conflict at any cost. Many people believe avoiding conflict is a sign of maturity. Sometimes it is, but avoiding every difficult conversation usually has a different cause. Fear of rejection, fear of losing approval, fear of being called difficult, fear of disappointing someone. At first, staying silent feels like the safest choice. You tell yourself, it's not worth arguing. I'll just let it go. I don't want any drama. Once or twice, that may be the right decision. But when silence becomes your habit, it slowly begins working against you. Problems that are never discussed never truly disappear. They simply move deeper inside. Small frustrations become hidden resentment. Hidden resentment becomes emotional distance. And one day, after months of saying nothing, everything explodes at once. Everyone around you is shocked, including you. They wonder, why didn't you say something earlier? The truth is simple. You are trying to keep the peace. But real peace cannot be built on silence. Imagine a business partner who repeatedly arrives late to meetings. You say nothing. Week after week, the behavior continues. Eventually, your frustration becomes so great that one small delay causes a huge argument. The problem was never the last meeting. The problem was every conversation that never happened. Strong people do not enjoy conflict. They simply understand that honest conversations prevent larger problems later. They know something many people forget. Respect grows through honesty, not through avoidance. There is another consequence of avoiding conflict. People stop looking to you when important decisions must be made. Why? Because they never know where you stand. You agree with everyone. You challenge no one. You hide every opinion that might create discomfort. Eventually, others stop asking what you think, not because your opinion lacks value, but because they assume you have none. People build trust around those who clearly communicate their values. If nobody knows your position, they cannot rely on your leadership. They simply walk around you instead of with you. So what should you do? Practice calm confrontation, not emotional confrontation. There is a big difference. Calm confrontation sounds like this. I'm not comfortable with that. I see this differently. I don't agree. Let's discuss what happened. Notice something important. There is no shouting, no insults, no emotional performance, only clarity. Calm words spoken with confidence often carry more power than loud voices filled with anger. Real strength does not need to prove itself. It simply speaks the truth without fear. Behavior number 4. Over-explaining every decision. This habit is incredibly common, and most people never notice they are doing it. Someone asks you to stay longer. You say no, but instead of stopping there, you continue talking. You explain your schedule, your stress, your responsibilities, your family, your plans, your reasons. 5 seconds become 2 full minutes. Without realizing it, you are trying to convince the other person that your decision deserves approval. This quietly sends one message. I need permission before I can make choices for my own life. Confident people explain what is necessary. Nothing more. Not because they are rude, but because they trust their own decisions. Imagine 2 different responses. The first person says, I can't stay today. They smile. Then they continue with their day. The second person says, I can't stay because tomorrow I have to wake up early, and this week has been stressful, and I really wanted to help, and I hope you're not upset, and maybe another time if everything works out. Which answer sounds more certain? The decision is exactly the same. Only the confidence is different. The more reasons you give, the more opportunities people have to challenge you. They can question every excuse. They can negotiate every detail. They can search for weaknesses in your explanation. But a simple decision leaves very little room for negotiation. Short, clear, respectful. That is the language of quiet confidence. People who value themselves do not feel the need to defend every personal decision. They know something powerful. Not every choice requires a courtroom. Sometimes a calm answer is enough. And those who truly respect you will respect your decision as well. Behavior number 5. Putting everyone else before yourself. This is the habit that society often praises the most. People call it kindness. They call it generosity. They call it being selfless. They admire the person who is always available, always dependable, and always willing to sacrifice their own needs. At first, it sounds like a beautiful way to live. Helping others is a good thing. Being compassionate is a strength. Supporting people through difficult times is something to be proud of. But there is a point where generosity loses its balance. When you always place yourself last, something inside you slowly begins to fade. Your energy disappears. Your peace becomes rare. Your dreams are pushed further into the future. Little by little, you stop living your own life because you are constantly managing everyone else's. The most dangerous part is that this change happens so slowly you hardly notice it. And neither do the people around you. Not because they are cruel, not because they want to hurt you, but because human beings naturally adapt to the patterns they see every day. If you always say yes, people expect another yes. If you always cancel your plans, people assume your plans never matter. If you always sacrifice your comfort, others begin believing your comfort is unimportant. This is a simple truth about human behavior. People often value your time, energy, and attention at the level you value them yourself. Your actions teach people what to expect. Imagine a friend who answers every phone call, no matter the hour, late at night, early in the morning, during dinner, during family time. At first, everyone appreciates that kindness. Months later, they no longer ask, "Are you free?" They simply call because they expect an answer. Now imagine another friend. They are still caring. They still help. But sometimes they say, "I'm resting tonight. We can talk tomorrow. I need some quiet time today." Most people respect those limits because they are clear and consistent. Kindness without limits slowly becomes obligation. Kindness with healthy boundaries remains a gift. Real generosity should never require you to abandon yourself. You have responsibilities to others, but you also have responsibilities to yourself. Your physical health matters. Your emotional health matters. Your peace of mind matters. Your future matters. If you constantly ignore your own needs, eventually you will have very little left to give anyone else. Think of a lamp. It can brighten an entire room. But if no one ever replaces the oil, the light eventually goes out. People are no different. You cannot continue giving your best while constantly running on empty. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is responsible. A rested mind makes better decisions. A peaceful heart offers better support. A healthy person can help others for much longer than an exhausted one. There is something else you should expect. When you begin protecting your time, some people may become uncomfortable. Not because you have become unkind, but because the old version of you was easier for them. They were used to unlimited access. Now they must respect your boundaries. Healthy relationships adjust. Unhealthy expectations resist. That difference tells you a great deal. Instead of giving until you have nothing left, practice balanced generosity. Help people when you can. Listen with compassion. Offer support, but never do it by sacrificing your health, your peace, or your dignity. Sometimes the strongest sentence you can say is simple. I want to help you, and I also need to take care of myself. That sentence protects both kindness and self-respect. True generosity should strengthen your life, not slowly destroy it. The bigger picture. Now step back and look at these 5 behaviors together. They may seem different on the surface, but they all grow from the same root. Saying yes when you mean no often comes from fear of disappointing others. Apologizing for everything often comes from fear of taking up space. Avoiding difficult conversations often comes from fear of rejection. Over-explaining every decision often comes from fear of being judged. Putting everyone else's needs before your own often comes from fear of losing approval or love. Notice the pattern. The real problem is not kindness. The real problem is fear controlling your choices. And the answer is not becoming cold, arrogant, or uncaring. The answer is developing healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that push people away. They are doors with clear rules. They allow respect to enter while keeping resentment outside. Healthy boundaries protect relationships. Without them, kindness slowly turns into exhaustion. Respect disappears, and love becomes one-sided. Many of these habits begin in childhood. Perhaps you were taught to never upset anyone, to always be polite, to avoid saying no, to make everyone happy. Those lessons may have helped you then, but adulthood asks for something different. It asks for honesty. It asks for consistency. It asks for self-respect. The people who truly care about you will not disappear because you set healthy boundaries. They will adjust. In many cases, they will respect you even more. Why? Because they know where you stand. They know your words are honest. They know your kindness is genuine rather than forced. That creates trust, and trust is one of the strongest forms of influence. So here is your challenge. This week, choose just one habit to change. Say one respectful but honest no. Replace one unnecessary sorry with thank you. Have one conversation you have been avoiding. Give one clear answer without defending it for 5 minutes. Protect 1 hour of your own time as if it truly matters. Because it does. Every healthy boundary you build is a quiet promise to yourself. A promise that your time has value. Your voice has value. Your peace has value. And when you consistently live that promise, other people begin believing it too. Real influence is not created by pleasing everyone. It is created by living with calm confidence, clear boundaries, and the courage to respect yourself first. If this video helped you see yourself more clearly, don't let these ideas end here. Take one lesson from today and put it into practice this week. Real confidence isn't built in one day. It is built one decision at a time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next lesson on power, psychology, self-mastery, and timeless wisdom. If you know someone who always puts others before themselves or struggles to set healthy boundaries, share this video with them. It might be exactly what they need to hear today. Now tell me in the comments, which of the 5 behaviors do you struggle with the most? And what is one boundary you will start practicing this week? Thank you for watching, and remember, respect begins the moment you start respecting yourself.